They don't want you focused. They want you distracted, scrolling, reacting, searching for meaning. Because the man who learns to master his focus becomes dangerous, not by being loud or emotional, but by being precise, and precision unsettles them. Machiavelli understood what most men forget today. Power begins with what you choose to give your attention to. The more you value other people's opinions, the more you belong to them, the more you direct your attention inward, the more they fall under yours. This isn't philosophy, it's strategy. Every opinion you chase, every argument you engage, every trend you follow drains your strength until you become part of the noise. The world doesn't silence you, you silence yourself by drowning in it. That's why self-focus isn't optional, it's a weapon. Reclaim your energy, not with anger, not with emotion, but with discipline. Let others react, you watch. Let them explain, you move. Let them scream, you think. Focus isn't isolation, it's quiet control. It's mastering your own mind before someone else does. If you're ready to stop giving away your energy to fools, write this below. My silence builds empires. From now on, your attention belongs to you alone. Number 1. Distraction is the smiling enemy. The greatest threat to power today doesn't arrive with a sword. It arrives as a notification, a headline, a dopamine hit designed to make you feel instead of think. They don't need to destroy you. They only need to keep you scrolling, because a distracted man never becomes a dangerous one. Machiavelli warned, he who controls the people must control their minds first. Today, no chains are needed. Algorithms, envy, and noise are enough. Each time you react without purpose, you hand them the remote to your brain. Every trend you chase, every opinion you seek, every moment of borrowed approval fractures your mind until nothing remains strong enough to build with. The world wants your focus cheap. Your task, make it priceless. Guard it like a fortress. Cut off whatever drains you, even if it once felt entertaining, even if it once felt like connection. Real power doesn't need to be seen. It only needs to be concentrated. If you're done exchanging your mind for noise, comment this: I guard my focus like a weapon. Remember, whoever protects their attention secures their future. Number 2. Isolation isn't weakness. It's refinement. They'll say you've changed, become distant, colder. What they mean is you've stopped being available to their chaos. You've begun building in silence, and that unsettles them. Machiavelli knew this well. A wise man must learn to be alone with his thoughts, not because solitude is easy, but because power grows in silence. The world celebrates the man who is everywhere, but it fears the man who disappears, then returns sharper. You're not avoiding people, you're avoiding confusion, noise, and emotional clutter. Every second spent explaining yourself is wasted. Results speak louder than presence. Strategic isolation is not retreat, it's renewal. While others broadcast for validation, you go quiet. While they talk, you recalibrate. While they chase attention, you become someone who commands it by doing nothing at all. If you feel the call to step back and evolve, honor it. And if that's where you're heading now, write this below. My silence is sacred, because when you return, they won't recognize you. Number 3. The one who reacts first loses. Power doesn't shout. It observes. It waits. It calculates. Weak minds, however, react instantly, loudly, emotionally. And that's all it takes to lose everything. One wrong reaction, and they control you. They provoke you, not because they care, but to test if they still own your emotions. Every time you flinch, argue, or over-explain, you prove their influence. You become predictable. Machiavelli said the intelligence of a ruler can be judged by the men around him. Today, a man's strength is measured by how calm he remains in chaos. When they can't read you, they fear you. When they can't provoke you, they lose power. Your silence confuses them. your calm becomes threatening. People don't know how to fight someone who won't flinch. Train your emotions like a soldier. No reaction unless it serves your plan. No outburst unless it builds your long game. No explanation unless it earns you leverage. Keep everything else inside. Let them guess. Let them drown in uncertainty. Most people never reach power because they're addicted to reaction, addicted to proving, arguing, defending. They want to be understood. The Machiavellian man wants to remain unreadable. If you've ever been baited into defending your peace, write this: I am not here to react. I am here to rule. And remember what they don't know, they fear. Number 4, self-focus builds leverage. Leverage governs everything. In every room, there's one who speaks and one who listens. One tries to prove himself. The other collects information, measuring weaknesses, spotting cracks. Guess who wins? You don't dominate a room by speaking. You dominate it by controlling what controls everyone else. Attention. Self-focus is your forge. Every hour spent sharpening your mind, protecting your time, building your value is leverage stored quietly, patiently. Machiavelli didn't chase fairness. He sought control. The truth is, people only respect what they fear losing. When you become the man who can't be manipulated, who doesn't need validation, who walks away without a word, you become irreplaceable. That's power. Not noise, not popularity, not performance, but leverage built through discipline. You want influence, then disappear for a year and return 10 steps ahead. Let them doubt you, let them forget you. Because when you return with results, they'll remember differently, they'll talk less and listen more. Not because you changed your tone, but because you raised your value. That is the force of self-focus. It's not about being better than others. It's about becoming so refined, so rare, that they can't compete. You don't fight, you rise above. Let the crowd chase relevance, you chase refinement. Let them argue for status, you build substance. Let them demand attention, you make your absence expensive. Once you learn to focus inward, you stop negotiating your worth outward. If you're building quietly, write this below: my focus is my throne, because the world bows not to the loudest voice, but to the calmest mind with the most leverage. Number 5, kill the need to be seen. Most don't pursue power, they pursue attention and mistake it for power. They crave praise, applause, validation. But here's the truth: the more you need to be seen, the easier you are to control. When your worth depends on noise, you're predictable, and predictable men are never powerful. Validation is a leash, dressed in likes, applause, emojis. It doesn't choke, it seduces, it convinces you you're winning, while quietly guiding you where they want you to go. Think about it. The algorithm rewards you when you're tame and punishes you when you're real. That's not affirmation, it's manipulation. Machiavelli didn't play for applause. He sought control, influence, results. He understood the more you depend on others for identity, the less of it you truly have. If you need their eyes to feel valuable, you've already lost the battle for your mind. That's the reality most never escape. They live starving for approval, unaware of how exposed they are. Their confidence dies with one insult. Their energy collapses when ignored. Their mood swings with another person's opinion. That's not personality, it's programming. And if you can be programmed, you can be broken. There's another path, a colder, lonelier one, but also the only one leading to real strength. You must learn to validate yourself through execution, not expression, through progress, not praise, through silence, not performance. That's the Machiavellian mindset. The less they know, the more they fear. When you accomplish something difficult, don't announce it. Let it grow inside you. When you move, don't broadcast it. Let it unfold later. When you succeed, don't chase congratulations. Let your absence speak. Then let your emergence shock them. Power isn't about being noticed. It's about being undeniable without trying. Understand this. The man who craves being seen never builds anything lasting. He's too busy performing, too busy adjusting. too busy explaining. He becomes a puppet, smiling when praised, breaking when ignored. The Machiavellian is never the loudest, but he is always the one you can't ignore when he acts. Yes, silence has a cost. People will misunderstand you. They'll call you arrogant, distant, emotionless. Let them. That's the price of control. Those who need to be seen waste time correcting every false impression. Those who know their value remain still while enemies exhaust themselves trying to understand. You must become the ghost in their system, not present, but always felt, not loud, but always looming. Your moves confuse them, your stillness frustrates them, and your focus unsettles them. Because you don't need to be noticed, you need to be effective. This is why most stay powerless. They become addicted to being seen before they've done anything worth seeing. They want recognition before results, praise before progress, a following before a foundation. That isn't power, it's delusion, and delusion destroys strong minds. You must cut off that addiction, replace it with discipline, become invisible for a while. Let your mind grow quietly. Let your work become your validation, because once validation comes from within, no one can take it away. And the moment you need nothing from the world begins to need everything from you. That's how power shifts. That's how leverage builds. That's how real influence moves. Quiet, deliberate, always 10 steps ahead. If you want to test yourself, stay silent. First for a week, then 2, then a month. Watch who reaches out. Watch what collapses without your constant involvement, and see how much stronger your mind becomes when nothing interrupts it. Your focus sharpens, your emotions steady, your actions turn precise. That is what unsettles the world. Not a man who shouts, but one who disappears to build, then returns without seeking permission. A man who doesn't need applause because he creates in silence. You must kill the impulse, the urge to share before it's real, to show plans before they're executed, to celebrate before victory. That weakness defines modern men, confusing attention with achievement. The Machiavellian man knows the difference, and that's why he prevails while others exhaust themselves pretending. When they finally see what you've become, they'll ask, how? How did you grow while they were busy showing off? How did you advance while they were explaining themselves? How did you rise without ever raising your voice? And your response will be silence, because true progress doesn't announce itself. It arrives, it shifts the room, it communicates without words. Write this if you're done performing. I'm not here to be seen, I'm here to be sovereign, because the man who no longer seeks their eyes becomes the shadow they cannot ignore. Number 6, discipline is the fortress. Control time, control the game. Weak men wait for motivation. Strong men build systems. The disciplined man doesn't wake up hoping to feel ready. He chooses readiness daily, without emotion, without excuse. In the pursuit of power, discipline is not a lifestyle. It is a fortress, and time is your only true currency. Look around, people stay busy, but few are effective. They chase goals without structure, burn energy without direction, and mistake motion for progress. Not you. You're not here to be busy. You're here to master time, and that starts by building the structure behind your days. Machiavelli never wrote about calendars or lists. He wrote about control over people, over situations. And the first battle he'd demand you win is the control of your hours. Because if you don't command your time, you already serve someone else. Power hides in time, and most never find it. They wake when they feel like it, act only when forced. They are slaves not to chains, but to a lack of structure. The Machiavellian mind is sharper, colder, relentless. Its edge is routine. Your discipline must be sacred, not loud, not posted, not performed, sacred. You rise not for a challenge, but because your mission demands it. You train not for appearance, but because weakness is a liability. You master your schedule not to be productive, but because chaos belongs to the powerless. Quietly, power is built, every controlled hour a brick, every finished task a weapon, every routine a wall separating you from mediocrity. While others seek comfort, you seek command. It's not about perfection, it's about predictability to yourself. When your body moves before your mind resists, you've transcended weakness. That's when your day becomes an extension of your will, not your mood. Freedom doesn't come without structure. The freest man is the one who has mastered limits. He doesn't waste time on choices. He has systems, rituals, precision. Routine removes confusion, hesitation, dependence on external force. Most people sabotage themselves with randomness. They set goals, but never build repeatable habits. That's why they fall. They chase motivation, like children chase fireflies, hoping it returns tomorrow, but it never does. Because motivation is for spectators, systems are for rulers. You don't need inspiration to win. You need to do what must be done, regardless of feeling. That is discipline. It isn't flashy, it isn't fun, but it's what separates the man who watches time slip away from the one who carves his throne with it. Machiavelli would have said it like this: don't wait for the world to crown you. Build a clock and make the world run on your time. The more structure you build, the less chaos can enter. The more ordered your inner world becomes, the less the outer world can shake it. Time is the battlefield. Most are unarmed. You arrive prepared, hour by hour, choice by choice. You wield time like a sword. Cut the excess, eliminate waste, guard your mornings. Use your nights for reflection, not escape. Sleep with purpose, rise with intent, move with precision. Distractions will always tempt you. Noise will always call louder than your plans. But chaos is the enemy. Noise is a trap. Emotion is a thief. Your strength lies in refusing to negotiate with them. Make your routine heavier than your excuses, so when feelings whisper, your actions have already begun. That is mental power, not thinking more, but thinking less, because your system already leads the way. Over time, discipline becomes identity. You no longer force yourself, you become someone new. A man who performs without pressure, who moves without chaos, who doesn't explain habits because results speak for him. And here's the truth. Once they see you don't waste time, they'll know you don't waste power. That is what makes them fear you, not your words, not your presence, but your consistency, your order, your discipline. That is your weapon. That is your fortress. That is your proof. If you've moved beyond motivation and chosen mastery, write this: I don't follow motivation, I follow a code. Because from here on, you're not managing time, you're ruling it. Number 7, emotional detachment is the hidden weapon. The most dangerous man in any room is the one who feels nothing but sees everything. He doesn't react, he doesn't flinch. He observes with precision. The world tells you to be vulnerable. Machiavelli would tell you to be unreadable. Emotions are not the enemy, but emotional reactivity is the moment they see what angers you, they own you. The moment they see you flinch, they adapt. The moment they make you explain yourself, the balance shifts. You don't win by feeling more. You win by separating emotion from decision. When they scream, you listen. When they insult, you calculate. When they provoke, you stay still. Silence, in the hands of a focused man, becomes sharper than any blade. Machiavelli understood the weakness of uncontrolled emotion. He wrote, "Men are driven by two things, love and fear, but to be feared is safer." Why? Because love expects, demands, softens. Fear requires nothing. It respects distance. It obeys silence. Detachment doesn't mean numbness. It means being unavailable to manipulation. You don't erase emotions, you master them. You decide when to use them, like weapons kept close, but never shown. Most people drown in their own reactions. They speak before thinking. They argue before understanding. They destroy opportunities because they confuse impulse with power. The detached man does not. He lets others burn themselves out while he remains steady. If you want control, detach, not in bitterness, but with strategy. Stop debating fools. Stop trying to be understood. Stop reacting to tone. Calmness is not weakness, it is authority. And authority unsettles people because they can't predict it. That is what separates the ordinary from the elite. The ordinary man is ruled by emotion. He replies when provoked, shouts when disrespected, seeks closure. The elite man closes the door silently. He walks away, not from weakness, but from knowing the battle isn't worth the cost. This isn't theory, it's training. Learn to sit in discomfort, feel rage without acting, hear insult without answering, face abandonment without chasing. Each time you resist reaction, you sharpen your mind. You become the storm they never anticipated. Power is clarity, and clarity cannot exist in a reactive mind. Detachment clears the fog. It lets you see people as they are, not as you wish they'd be. Most men fail because they crave emotional comfort from those who harm them. They want closure from liars, validation from betrayers, understanding from crowds. The Machiavellian man wants none of it. He wants results, not reconciliation. You don't need to prove your worth to those who ignored it. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to lower yourself to win emotional battles. You rise by being unavailable. You rise by building while others fight among themselves. And once you detach, people notice. They sense the shift. They feel the stillness. They don't know what you're thinking, and that makes them nervous. Because a man they can read is a man they can control. But a man who reacts to nothing terrifies them. They will test you. They will provoke you. They will bait you. Don't move. They will ask why you've changed. Don't explain. They will throw hooks. Don't bite. You've entered a phase where peace is built through strength, not pity. If you want to ascend, detach from old stories, from people who only understood you when you were weak, from the version of you that always needed to justify itself. That version ends now. When you move calmly, they assume you've lost emotion. In reality, you've gained authority. The world does not reward the reactive. It rewards the composed. The man who doesn't chase drama, who doesn't fear walking alone, who doesn't fight beneath his purpose. And when they say you've gone cold, let them. When they say you've changed, good. That means they can't use you, can't read you, can't predict you. The version of you they once controlled is gone. So here is your choice. Stay reactive and remain controlled, or detach and become untouchable. If you've begun mastering inner silence, if you feel yourself stepping away from chaos, write this in the comments. Detachment is my strength. I feel nothing. I lose nothing. Because when you stop reacting, you begin to rise. Number 8. Solitude makes you powerful. Most people avoid solitude. They call it loneliness. They fear the quiet. They panic when no one texts. When the room is still, they feel exposed, forgotten, small, and that is when they break. Not from outside pressure, but from their own fear of being alone. But solitude is not a punishment. It's a purification. It's not where you lose yourself. It's where you uncover the version of you that no one has seen. A version not reliant on attention, voices, or approval. A version too busy becoming strong to look for validation. You can't build true power in constant noise. You can't find clarity surrounded by people who drain you. You can't strengthen your mind when it's being pulled in 10 directions. Solitude removes the distractions. Masks fall off, noise fades, and all that's left is you, raw, real, uncomfortable. That discomfort is the beginning of your rebirth. Machiavelli would not have told you to seek company when your mind is weak. He would have told you to withdraw, not to escape, but to refine, to pull away from the crowd so your silence becomes feared and your life becomes so solid. It needs no explanation. Many men try to heal among those who hurt them. That's why they never grow. They remain available, emotionally open, and therefore controlled. The Machiavellian man withdraws, not to sulk, but to sharpen, not to cry, but to calculate. He isn't gone, he's transforming. Solitude is not weakness. It's training for the soul. It teaches you to sit with your thoughts without being destroyed by them. It forces you to face the unfiltered version of yourself, the version hidden behind distractions. And once you face it, you gain something rare: self-command. You must learn emotional independence. You must become your own anchor, your own reason, your own strength. Because the man who relies on no one for inner peace is a man no one can destroy. And here's what they won't say. Your enemies hope you never discover this. They want you needy, reactive, easily provoked. They want you clinging to relationships, glued to your phone, explaining your silence. Because if you ever embrace solitude fully, you become untouchable. In solitude, truth emerges, not opinions, not distractions, but truth about your habits, your flaws, your patterns. Many run from this because truth demands change, discipline, and sacrifice. That is the price, and only the committed pay it. Your solitude must be strategic. Don't isolate to hide. Isolate to build. Create a system. Strengthen your body. Study deeply. Audit your circle. Break your addictions. Every day in silence must move you toward power, not escape. And yes, people will talk. They'll call you cold, distant, strange. They won't understand why you pulled away. Good. Let them wonder, because when you return, they'll realize you weren't avoiding them. You were surpassing them quietly, without warning. The lion doesn't announce his hunt. He disappears, observes, studies, and then he returns, sharper, faster, lethal. That is what solitude produces. While others chase attention, you chase alignment. While they seek comfort, you seek clarity. While they depend on crowds, you rely only on your discipline. Strong men don't fear solitude, they require it. Because solitude is where the blueprint is written. It's where weaknesses are burned out. It's where the mind becomes organized, emotions are mastered, and purpose is sharpened. People often say, "I don't want to be alone," but they already are, emotionally abandoned by the people around them, spiritually disconnected from purpose, mentally trapped by opinions. What they fear isn't loneliness, it's silence exposing the truth. Let silence reveal who you are and fix it. Not for them, but for you. You owe it to the man you could become to destroy every version of you that wastes time, every version addicted to people, noise, false purpose. Let those versions die in solitude while you evolve into a weapon. And don't confuse solitude with stagnation. In silence, progress happens unseen. No one witnesses the 4 a.m. wake-ups, the late-night study, the cold showers, the meditation, the struggles. And no one needs to, because results don't ask for validation, they demand respect. Here's what happens when you weaponize solitude. People come back curious, unsettled, drawn to the change. They sense your energy shift, your presence sharpen, your boundaries harden. You say less, but they listen more. You reveal less, but they feel more. And when they ask what happened, you say nothing. Because true transformation doesn't explain itself, it becomes the answer. So what do you do now? You disappear, intentionally, strategically, for 90 days. Not from the world, but from noise, validation, and distraction. You reclaim your hours, you master your emotions, you let people think what they want. Because what you're building isn't for them to understand, it's for them to feel. And when you return, you move differently. You speak with calm, your eyes don't search for approval, your voice doesn't shake when challenged, because you know exactly who you are. You've become someone the world cannot define, cannot manipulate, cannot weaken. You've become a force. Your next move: build your war room in solitude. Plan without announcements. Grow without their praise. Sharpen yourself unseen, and when the moment comes, execute without hesitation. If you're ready to weaponize solitude and transform in silence, comment below. I disappear to evolve. I return unrecognizable. Because once you no longer fear being alone, you become the one others fear in silence. Number 9. Evolution is the final strike. You've been quiet, focused, alone, not broken, but rebuilding. They thought you vanished in weakness. What they didn't see was the old you dying and a weapon being forged in its place. Now you're different. Not louder, not angrier, but sharper, colder, controlled. Not because you're numb, but because you've realized how much energy was wasted trying to be understood in a world that rewards manipulation over truth. You no longer want revenge. You don't need it. Because you've learned what Machiavelli knew: men must either be indulged or eliminated. In modern terms, you either protect your peace or cut out whatever disturbs it. There is no middle ground. You once wanted explanations. Now you want silence. You once tried proving yourself. Now your results prove you. You once begged for peace. Now you are the storm. That's what self-focus does. It kills the old you and gives rise to a version that doesn't explain. It dominates. This isn't cruelty, it's completion. You stop chasing understanding. You stop apologizing for outgrowing the weak. You stop inviting betrayal just to feel connected. Because power doesn't beg. Power doesn't chase comfort. Power observes, waits, and moves with clarity. You've mastered solitude. You've turned silence into strategy. You've stopped reacting, stopped justifying, stopped folding for people who never would for you. And in that discipline, you've become unreadable, unstoppable, untouchable. Let them whisper. Let them question. Let them try the same manipulation you studied in silence. This time, you don't respond. Because when the world loses access to your mind, it loses control over your future. Self-focus has made you unmatched. You don't chase recognition. You don't argue for influence. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere, not through words, but through presence, certainty, control. You don't harm those who wronged you. You don't need to. Their punishment is living with what they lost, while watching what you've become. That is destruction in silence. You don't need regret. You don't need closure. You've broken the cycle, the chaos, the emotional chains, the leash that pulled you back every time you tried to rise. You've burned it. In its place, you've built a system, calculated, disciplined, relentless. Now everything is intentional. Every hour counted, every word measured, every action earned. And when people try to drag you back, they're met with boundaries and silence, because that version of you is gone, buried under every early morning, every hard choice, every lonely discipline. You're not motivated, you're structured. You're not emotional, you're precise. You're not seeking revenge, you've evolved beyond it. That's what Machiavelli would have respected. Not the man who reacts, but the one who rises above, untouchable and unknown to those who thought they knew him. If they return, you don't attack, defend, or explain. You simply no longer exist in their world. You now operate in a realm they cannot enter. That is the ultimate revenge, evolution, so complete they can't even trigger a response. Your mind is fortified. Your time is guarded. Your presence is rare. You've become what many fear: a man who needs nothing, but chooses everything with precision. So what now? You keep building in silence. Protect your peace like a weapon. Study while they sleep. Plan while they gossip. Train while they doubt. Because every day you stay this course, you widen the gap, multiply your leverage, and separate from the ordinary. You will never return to who you were. That man is gone. He served his purpose. Now he's been replaced by someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't fail himself anymore. You've become what they feared most, fully in control. If you've walked this journey from distraction to discipline, from chaos to clarity, comment below. They can't reach me anymore. I am the silence they can't decode. Then never forget, the ultimate power is not loud. It doesn't chase applause. It doesn't seek closure.